Hey guys, I'm here at Radi, otherwise known as Third Eye Philosophy. What's going on?
Hey, what's up? Hi guys, how y'all doing? How you
Hey.
doing?
So I want to know, were you always on the Democratic plantation, or what made you leave the Democratic plantation if you were always on it?
Um, I was always on it when until I was about 25 years old. Well, as a matter of fact, I was 26 because at that time I already joined the military. I've been a year in. I voted for Obama in the first term, and I started realizing like how could people be against the things he said? Obama,
Yeah, of
and
course.
and then that made me just think. I was like, let me see, is there things that he's not telling people? Like, is there things that he lying about or caught lying about? So I started doing that type of research, and that's when I got pilled, and I pretty much became a conservative. But I was really like low key. I was really low key with it. I was just learning. You know,
So what
just
was it?
kind of looking at the hole for a long time.
Sorry, I just want to ask you. So what was the incident that made you look into why people were against Obama? Because I feel like for me, I don't know. It took me a while. Like I didn't really want to. I didn't really care to. So was there a particular incident that made you be like, wait a minute? He was such a cultural icon, and there's cult of personality
Yeah.
has developed around him. So it was really hard
Mhm.
to criticize him, and really hard. Like I was kind of the same way. Like so. What was the thing that made you?
I think I don't remember the actual thing it was, but I do remember watching him one time, and it was something that he was against that George Bush did. Then he came in and he was doing a speech, and he said that it was the right thing to do for his for something that George Bush was doing.
You're like,
And
wait
at
a
the
minute.
time,
Yeah.
yeah, and at the time I was like, wait, now you're like agreeing with him and you're going to continue. But I'm trying to remember what it was. I think it had something to do with
War.
overseas and sending more stuff overseas or something.
Yeah.
On a war. Yeah, it was something like about that. But I wasn't into politics.
Yeah.
I was just following him because he was, some type of inspiration. And so at that point, that's when I started thinking, let me look more into this guy and see like what's really going on with him because he's saying a lot of things that's talking about unity and stuff like that, but then you have people that's against it. You know,
Yeah.
I really had to look into the rabbit hole to see exactly what was on people's mind, like what type of information they, you know, and that's when I was kind of red pilled into knowing the truth, at least some of the truth.
Yeah. It's weird. Like so, basically, you caught him contradicting himself, right? And that was the thing that like
Yeah,
made you look into him.
yeah, that made me look into it, researching, and kind of just go head on with all of the people that you would think are racist or you would think is they hate you for no reason or whatever the case may be. I went and just listened to what these people had to say. And in the beginning, I'm gonna tell you, it was not it was not easy to sit down and listen to a lot of things that's against what I used to believe. But I stuck it out. At times, I'll be listening to somebody like Alex Jones or something, and I'll just turn it off when I first start listening. So I'm like, oh, I'm like, yeah, these people, this is
Did
crazy,
you did you think that Alex Jones was racist because he was talking about Obama?
No, because I was never really the type of person that just classify somebody as racist, over their opinion,
Okay.
especially over stuff that us black people talk about amongst ourselves all the time.
Okay.
You know, if they talking about something that's like cultural wise or something that black people do or what black people think, I don't just automatically think racist. You know,
Yeah, that's good, and I think that's healthy, because not everything is racist. There are racists, and there is racism, but not everything is racist. You know.
Yeah.
Do you think? Wait, hold on 1 second. Is there any possible? Could you close some of your programs because you're blurry? I close some of my programs. I just want you to see if I can get a little bit clearer picture on you.
I don't have no programs
You don't have
open.
any programs open? Okay.
Oh, this is my phone.
Oh, okay. Okay. Um, you're
I
going.
don't know. It's clear for me.
Okay, it's blurry on my end a little bit, but it's okay. I can still see. Um, I want to ask you, do you think because you were in the military too, the whole overseas things like struck a chord with you? Just
Um,
it hit closer to home, like maybe that was the thing that got you to look into it because you're in the military and you don't want to go to war and all that stuff. Or were you in the military at that time?
no, I literally joined the military to serve Obama.
Oh
Didn't
wow.
have, didn't really have the. I wanted to serve the first black president. That was pretty much what it was, and um, and the bonus was pretty nice. So, and I wanted to change my life. It's just not like, oh, I just did it for him. I really needed to change my life. You know, so I joined the military. I was like, what do I do to help him? So I joined the military. And that was in 2008 when he got elected. And around that time I joined.
What branch were you?
And I'm National Guard, because my family is not a military family.
Okay.
My grandfather was in the military, but besides him, he was like telling us don't do it, because back in those days, he was a part of war, and he always like he didn't want us to do it. He didn't want us to be part of the military. He said it's like that's how my grandfather was telling us. But I was really young, so I never knew too much about it.
So was
And
he? Oh, sorry. I wanted to
and
ask. And then what?
again,
I know. I was saying. So I wanted to ask you though. Was he alive when you joined the military?
no,
Okay.
he passed when I was about 13.
Okay. Okay. So
This is a long time.
yeah. No, I'm just curious to how he would feel knowing that you joined the military now. But maybe he would respect you too. There are just some people, even though you tell someone something, there are people that feel like they have to just find out and do things for themselves anyway. Even if somebody's telling you, you
Yeah,
gotta.
he was kind of breaking up.
Oh,
Hmm.
yeah, you're breaking up a little bit too. Hold on. Let me see. What else can I do? Um, you're fine now. You don't have any. Okay, you're good. You're good now. You're good now.
Yeah,
Huh?
I don't have anything. I said I don't have any. I took everything off. I turned my apps
Dang.
off and everything.
I don't know what to. Okay, and I'm by my router. I have everything. Well, let's just keep going, and then we'll see. Hopefully, it'll clear up. Um, what else was I going to ask you? Oh, okay. So, what was your experience in the military? I want to know about that. I'm curious. Like, did
What
you
is
like
my
it?
experience?
Oh, I'm
Still in.
sorry. What is your
Still
experience?
safe.
Sorry. What is your experience?
Yeah. It's pretty good. So this me right here. See it?
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm still in. But my experience is it's good. You got a lot of people that's like pro America, pro Second Amendment, but a lot of things a lot of people is because we National Guard, we reserve, so we're more home than we are on duty.
Got you.
So a lot of the soldiers is kind of sucked into the propaganda. Some of them I talk to, some of them we talk together and we talk about what's going on. We pass messages, we pass emails about the current events and stuff that's going on. But some people just they don't like. I've been told by my higher ups, that I need to tone it down because some of my videos I had to take down because I was in uniform.
Mm.
Yeah, and I lost one of my gigs working at JFK doing security at JFK. Lost one of those gigs because I was caught on camera drinking a Monster. Yeah, and I
It's a
spoke to the
monster.
king, a monster. Yeah,
Like the energy drink?
yeah.
Those are so bad
So
for you. That's why. No, I'm just kidding.
um, it,
I'm just messing with you. But why?
it
Why
ain't
did they
help.
say that? Like you were drinking a
It ain't
monster?
help. But they already tell us, they give us a brief and everything. Just focus on the job, pay attention. You know, you're not allowed to drink monsters. I can have some water, but no monster. Yeah, and but the thing is, I was on break. I was on break, and I was talking to my comrade next to me. We took a little 15-minute break, and I went and got a monster out of the machine, and and I'm drinking it and talking to him at the same time. We talking exactly how we talking right now, politics and stuff. And I didn't finish the monster. It was like a corner left, and my time was up. I had to go back in, and we started walking back in and talking. And I noticed how I had the monster in my hand, so I just finished it and I threw it in the garbage, you know. And they caught that on camera.
That's crazy.
That, that wasn't that was like 2 weeks before they actually found it. Yeah, so I was there for like 2 weeks longer. And then they found it and they were like, we got to release you. I'm like, that's fine because that was my last day for that contract anyway. You
Well,
know,
I mean, like, it seems like they were. You think it was like a setup? They were just trying to find something on you. You're way clearer now. Whatever you're doing, do it.
I have,
You're way clearer now.
nice.
That's all right.
No. Um, I do have some suspicions about some people in my unit that, you know how liberals, they kind of pick on you. You know, if they
Yeah,
find
yeah.
out that
They're
a
very
conservative,
passive aggressive.
yeah, very passive aggressive. And it's like ever since I've been showing my support for Donald Trump, you know, I've been like, I feel like they've been giving me like some side treatment, you know, like they give me some screwed up missions and stuff like that, and and they blame stuff on me that is like normally wouldn't happen, you know,
Hmm.
like they'll blame stuff on me that they know somebody else was to blame, but being that that person was under my detail, you know, because I'm a sergeant, and so he was under my detail, you
Hmm.
know, instead of blaming him because he obviously did something wrong. He did something wrong. You know, they'll point at me because I'm the sergeant. You know, and he didn't get in trouble at all. So
Wow.
when stuff like that keep happening and they keep targeting me and then on top of that, some people in there like they how do you say it? They like worship death cult. Like is this one guy worship death cult? You
In the
know,
military?
yeah, and yeah. But I say something, nobody cares. It's like that's what he do. He
Wait,
do
wait,
that on his.
wait. I'm sorry. Could you just explain this to me? They like, is that? Don't laugh at me. Is that like literally? They is it like a video game? Is it just killing? Is it like death cult? I'm not being a smartass. So they're
Oh
like,
no no. It's
could you like elaborate more on that for me?
It's like a Satanist, like those gothic like people that worship Satan. Like they, he throw up the Baphomet sign, and he be like he
Wow.
used to have long hair. He used to wear the bloody shirts and the skulls and all over his Facebook. And I'm like,
Yeah, but
and he's
and he's a what?
a Mason, Freemason.
You know, it's weird. I have this theory about people in the military that it draws two types of people. Either people that are very noble and loyal and willing to lay down their life and very dedicated, or psychopaths. It seems like it kind of draws those two type of people.
And I feel like the psychopaths is like power hungry, crave, and they
Yeah.
do anything to get their power. And that's the situation I feel like I've been going through sometimes with the military, where you got some people that's just there like not to be like a team player to support and help and uplift, but they there just to point out all your flaws so you could lose your rank
So
or
they
you
can
can
take it. Yeah.
yeah
They
so
can
they
climb
can get
up.
you know, or they could get somebody that agrees with them, or somebody that they like more to have their rank,
You know, no, totally. I mean, I get it. I mean, there's been studies in psychology, not just in the military, but just in any position that mostly any positions of power or careers that are very powerful, psychopaths actually are really successful, and they're the ones up at the top, just because they'll do anything. They'll step on people to get them. They'll lie on people. They'll sabotage people. Because I think if you have morals and you have remorse, You're not going to so easily get. You can too. I think that that's possible. I'm not saying it's not possible if you're not a psychopath, but I think that people that are psychopaths rise much faster because they're pathological liars. They'll cheat. They'll do anything to get up there. So
they're like more driven for it. It's like they need it. It's like a rush.
yeah,
They have to be in some type of position of power.
yeah,
that's true. And good people, the only thing we want is freedom, prosperity, equality.
yeah.
Fair treatment. That's all good people look for. Bad people, they all out there looking for all kinds of power, hurt people, oppress people, suppress people. I mean, whatever the case they could do to feel like they're in power. Some people does that. And when you see that and you recognize it, you can see it plain as day. Just by certain things they say and how they carry themselves, you can see from right then and there, that they about bad business, that they're negative, they draw bad energy.
Yeah, it's interesting. So how long have you been in the military?
Going on 10 years.
Oh, wow.
This month, the 24th of this month will be 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's great. I'm sure. Have you traveled a lot?
Oh, yeah. Last year we was in Australia. It was beautiful. And it was good for me. That was my first time there.
Oh, cool. Have you been anywhere else? Australia? I want to go there. It's a very interesting place.
No. Mainly a lot of our duties be here in the States.
Like you said, yeah. So I didn't know that about the National Guard. They're usually home based in the States.
Yeah, National Guard is here. If anything,
duh, in the name. Now that I think about it, National Guard. That's the name, I guess. If you think about it, that's what it's basically saying.
But everything's the same type of training and everything as everybody else. We just don't do it as much because we're reserved. So on our little spare time, we have to catch up on a lot of training, on a lot of updates on things that's happening with the military. So every month we just training. But yeah, our job is pretty much to just protect the state. I'm in New York, so we just protect the state. We New York National Guards. Then of course the states have their National Guards.
Yeah.
Only time we really supposed to step up for war is if it's some type of home front. Like if China were to come here and be on the ground here, we'll be like first responders.
Got you.
Yeah, and the same thing with every other state. But we do get deployed overseas for war. We just what happens is the group that's out there that has to come back home. They kind of release the group that's already out there actively at war. They release that group to come home to be with their family for 10, 12 months. And then during that period they'll have us replace them, and we'll go out there, replace them for 10, 12 months, depending on what it is. Sometimes it's 6 months. And then and then we be out there. Then once that time is up, they go back out there and we come back home.
Oh, that's interesting. I had no idea.
It's like we replaced them so they could come home and see their family, stuff like that.
Oh,
just for a short time.
That's cool. I'm so ignorant when it comes to military stuff. It's fascinating to me. How much would you say, or what would you say, you think the ratio is, I guess, the people that are patriots, that are in the military, or people that are Trump supporters, to not, more than not? I know you can't speak for everybody in the military, but just your experience.
Yeah, I can't speak for everybody, but from my experience, I see more Trump supporters than Trump haters. The Trump haters used to be real loud. Now they quiet. You know what I'm saying? Also, what I noticed, which is a kind of a little bit off topic a little bit, but it's kind of on topic a little bit. Okay. I also noticed there's a lot of illegal immigrants in the military.
Oh, really?
Illegal, illegal. Like they got to serve a certain amount of time, and then it's like they made they get a waiver to join, and they join. They don't have it, but they do like a year or two or something like that, and then they get their papers, their citizenship. They in the military for their citizenship.
So wait a minute. So, like, from what countries would you say?
Well, you got a lot of Latin countries, a lot of Latin America, Peru, Dominican Republic, Haiti, um, 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 Guyana, Trinity. Like it's all like the immediate areas, the Caribbeans and Latin America. You know, some what's this guy? He was Greek. Um, there's another guy. He's Turkish.
Hmm.
You know, I met a woman that was from Germany. She didn't have a paper. She came there and they like give it as an offer. Like you can do this and this help you get your citizenship. And a lot of them joined the military. And a lot of them.
How does that work? Isn't it like kind of like treason, or that's not the word I'm looking for? But like
No, I wouldn't treason though.
not treason. What am I?
Like
I can't think of the word. I'm at a loss for words. It's like, isn't, I mean, okay, I'll put it this way. How can they join when, or how do you know that they won't be like betrayers? Like, right? When did they know like some of the secrets in the military and.
that's the whole question. Like that's the whole thing. Like we question that stuff. Like they not even citizens and they allowed to serve. Like I gotta
Because
like when we go to war, this person right here don't know he don't even know how to sing the national anthem, but
yeah.
he's in the military. He don't even know what the national anthem is about, but he's in the military.
Does their
He don't
English
know.
have to be good?
Sometimes I mean sometimes you got some of them with like real strong accents. You know
Well,
you
I
just
mean,
don't
but
understand.
you can have a strong accent and still be fluent in English. So can they speak English really well?
But their accent is well, yeah, but their accent is like it's hard to hear what they say sometimes. But not all of them. Some of them come here, they got perfect English. You know, it's regular.
So
Some of
guess,
them,
okay. Yeah, that's because I mean, like, so say we go to war with Greece, but we have Greek people in our military. Like,
I used to think
you
stuff
know what
like
I mean?
that.
Like, no, but I mean, like, no. Why is that a bad thing to think?
Like, what with China? Because there's a lot of Chinese people in the military, in our military. There's a lot of Chinese people.
And Chinese
Like, you go
people
to
are
war with
very
China.
patriotic. They're very for their own country. You know. There's
Yeah,
a huh?
a lot of Chinese that I met that's in the military is like they America, pro Trump, you know,
Yeah.
they wear the Trump hat, you know.
Because
Um,
China's crazy. I mean, I love
yeah,
uh, I love Chinese culture. Like I've talked about that on this channel and stuff. So I'm not dogging the Chinese people, but I'm dogging their government and how they're basically enslaved. So I think a lot of people that can get away from China, they
yeah.
really want to get away from China because they're
I mean,
they're oppressed. They're
I think they
seriously
love.
oppressed, huh?
Yeah, I said, yeah, you can see that they love their people, but it's like the control over there is ridiculous.
Yeah, they're slaves. They're slaves. I mean,
Yeah,
you can arguably say that we're all slaves too, but they're like slaves. Like,
like
huh?
physically.
Yeah, physically and mentally and psychologically and spiritually. Like
Like they try to walk the streets and just shoot anybody and be like, "Don't worry about it. He was the bad guy," and just walk in the van and
yeah,
drive off. And everybody just keep walking like it was nothing. Like
yeah,
that's too much.
yeah.
That's a little.
My best friend lived in China. One of my best friends, he's black, and he liked it, and he had some interesting stories, and he was just telling me that he kind of had protection being a foreigner there, but the way that some of the people that got treated that lived there were treated was just abominable. And they were even afraid to spy. Like, there's no freedom of speech there. You know,
Wow.
there's none of that stuff. He was saying that he didn't even think about this at the time, but they weren't allowed to talk about the Tianamen Square incident because they
Hmm.
basically erased that from their history. They don't even know
They
about it.
history. They're like This didn't happen.
No, no,
Oh,
there's I mean, I'm making notes right now because I want to put some stuff that we're talking about in the links, so I don't have to watch the whole interview. But anyway, they did an experiment where they took these teenagers and they showed them pictures from the Tiananmen Square incident, and the teenagers are like, "What's that? This looks like a protest. Where is that?" And they're like, "It's Tiananmen Square." They're like, "What's that? I've never heard of that." So they're like, "Yeah, it happened in your country." They're like, "What?" It's insane. But on the flip side, China, like, I've been to Hong Kong. I haven't been to mainland. But I've heard, like, they have a lot of beautiful resources. They have a lot of land. They have a really cool, like, there's a lot of, without the control and the darkness that has overcome that country, they have a lot of awesome stuff to offer. But it's just really scary how controlled they are, and it's also scary how they've just been allowed to come over here and buy a bunch of land. Like, they own the port of Long Beach. Did you know that?
no.
Yeah, the Chinese own the port of Long Beach, and I'm like, you can't go to China and buy land there as an American. You're not allowed to do that. Even if you marry somebody Chinese, you're not of Chinese blood or culture, they won't let you own stuff there. But they're free to come here and purchase up a lot of our land. It just doesn't make sense to me.
They you can't even join a military. When I was in Australia, they was like, yeah, I could go to Australia and join a military. But you can't do that in places like China, Russia, stuff like that.
Yeah, I know. It's weird.
You ain't becoming a black general. You're not becoming a president of Russia. You're not becoming a president of China. So I'll be looking at people like, you really don't know how good you got it here as a black person. You really
Oh,
don't. We
totally.
just had a black president. We just did something that in no country besides countries in Africa, you know, where you have black leadership already. It's a black country.
Yeah.
But when the country is dominated by other races, that the next president could be a different race. That's unheard of. Here is like that's probably one of the first ever heard of, you know.
Yeah.
And I keep telling people, listen, you keep talking about when was America ever great? I said when you was able to run your mouth like that and live.
Right? No,
Right.
yeah. Or not get
Yeah.
your tongue chopped out, or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
There's even people out here. That's even people out here. But if you look at the entire picture, it's definitely more good people than bad people out here. There's what, over 400 million Americans here in this country and counting, and the death toll is not ridiculously crazy. So it's like, I mean, it is as far as when you look at the drugs and the drug industry, the gang on gang violence,
yeah.
the black on black violence, all that
But
stuff. You
that's
look at that,
still
you're like, okay, the
that's
total
still
is pretty.
I was gonna say that's still good compared to other countries.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And then,
Because they
and then
have
to
drug
be
wars and gang
then to
wars
be
and wars in other countries.
multicultural,
Huh?
multi religions, all of that, and we here and we able to maintain it as good as we maintain it. That's unheard of. Like people don't think like that. Like it's multi religions here.
Yeah.
Different types of Christians, different types of Catholics, different types of Muslims, different types of, that disagree with each other. And all of us disagree as a whole in different religions. Then you got the people that don't believe in God. Then you got, this country is full of like this is fruity pebbles if you think about it. It's like it's just a mixture of everything.
Fruity Pebbles.
You know what I'm saying? And we able to maintain it the way we are maintaining it. You know what I'm saying? Even the racism, people think racism is like all out of proportion. It's not. Maybe back in the days, yeah, but now things have changed. A lot of people are more vocal, and then that the average person has a voice. So we able to see things on a more broad perspective. For example, like, but back then we didn't have internet.
Yeah.
Back then us, me and you talking, and we on each different side of America right now,
Yeah.
most likely wouldn't happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
if anything, if we knew each other, we'd be sending mail to each other, which probably won't reach each other for months.
I'd be
You know,
like,
but now,
dear Roddy.
yeah, and I die that same day, and that letter never reach me.
Yeah,
And
you
he's
know, like,
like, you haven't responded. You know, so this is why back then today is a lot better than back then, because just like now, one call, boom, I'm talking to somebody that's freaking over 1,000 miles away. You know, on the other side of the country. You know, I'm
yeah,
talking to
on the
somebody
other
that's
side of the world, even that,
like, yeah. So
Yeah,
now people actually have tools to have power. So now this is what's starting to show.
yeah,
You know, is that we actually speaking up, we have power, and we also see that there's a lot of confused people out here. There's a lot
yeah,
of
yeah,
people.
it's true. Huh?
You know, it's a lot of confused people out here too. You know.
There's a lot of people that don't want to do work for themselves. They don't even want to think for themselves, you know? That's the
Yeah.
thing too. That's the thing that's frustrating. We have all this power, and there's still people that aren't willing to take hold of it because they want to be told what to think and how to think, and you know, they just want the answers given to them. I
Yeah.
yeah,
And you know what? Knowing how I used to be back then when I was liberal, you know, I I literally I literally thought that the government was supposed to take care of the people, like with government assistance and stuff. Grew up, I always thought that. I mean, there was a point in time where I remember asking my mother if I could go on welfare when I turned 18.
what did she say?
She was like, she don't know.
My
She was like, she don't know.
mom would have been like, "You better get your ass out there and get a job."
And what's crazy is like friends and family. I seen some friends and family like when we was kids growing up, and they couldn't wait to get 18 just so they could get welfare.
Yeah, I know.
Like, it was like when I turn 18, I'm gonna get welfare. I'm gonna move it to my own house. That's your plan? like
Yeah.
like like now when I think about that stuff, I'm like, wow, we are conditioned to destroy ourselves. Like there's no,
Yeah, I mean, I think it's also
there's no
deeper too. We're not given a purpose. We're not given, I mean, I think it's like a cycle. So, especially if you're living in a low income neighborhood, there's lots of violence, there's lots of gang activity. You already are, kind of have it in your head that you're maybe not going to live that long because of your environment. And then, if you do, then add to that the fact that, you're conditioned to think that, you're a victim because you're black and white people owe you stuff. Then it's easy for you to accept that you can just take money from the government because you shouldn't have to work for anything either. It's owed to me, right? And then you have what's like another thing we were talking about the whole and then just not having purpose, not having no matter what race you are, no matter what circumstances you are, if you don't have purpose, that turns you into a zombie, a lazy zombie. Even there's this really good documentary, I'm gonna write this down, called Born Rich. Have you seen it?
born rich.
Yeah. Have you seen that?
Probably did, but I don't
Okay,
remember.
so
Let's just say no.
so Jamie Johnson, he's one of the heirs to the Johnson and Johnson fortune, this pharmaceutical company, right? He made this documentary about rich kids. And it's interesting, Ivanka Trump's in it before, this is years ago before Trump becomes president. But there he interviews and follows rich kids, and as much money as they have no purpose. So a lot of them are spoiled and messed up. They're doing drugs. They party all the time. They're still squandering their life away. They're unhappy. Except I think the only people I did like in that documentary was Ivanka Trump and one of I think it was the Vanderbilt kids. They seemed to me to have pretty good heads on their shoulders, but all the other kids were fucked up. They were just like, it really, if you haven't seen that, and anybody watching that hasn't seen that documentary, I'll put in the links, but it really makes you think about money isn't everything. So I think the Vanderbilt kid was talking about like how he had like he went through a bout of depression and he didn't know, and he was in school and he took a year or two off and worked and did construction and learned construction, and he felt like he had a purpose, and he felt like after that he knew how to make stuff, he knew how to do something for himself. It gave him a better purpose in life, it gave him self-esteem, and that straightened him out. So getting back to what you're saying with the people that are just like, oh, I'm going to go on welfare and I'm going to get handouts, it's kind of the same concept, because even though these people aren't rich, they're still having people give them money, right? The rich kids are still having people give them money, but they're not doing anything to earn it. They're not doing anything to fulfill themselves. If you don't have purpose, you're just, no matter if you're rich or you're poor, you're lost. Huh?
So you're right. There's no real value to it.
Yeah. Even like, people that win the lottery. I want to win the lottery, shit. But I know what I would do with my money if I win the lottery. I wouldn't just buy a bunch of stuff. But even, people that win the lottery, they usually go through their money really fast. They don't have that mindset that keeps them creating and making stuff and thriving, So, yeah.
I know exactly.
Yeah. So I'm glad that you're not that person. Why do you think you weren't that person to be like, I'm going to get on welfare? What do you think? Did you see that early, or did you already have a purpose? Were you going somewhere? Like what?
Well, younger growing up, trust me, I was as lost as you see I'm lost now. I was so focused on music, I wanted to be an entertainer, just like a lot of them want to be. On every block in the neighborhood, is out of 10 people, like 6, 7 of them want to be some type of entertainer.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. It's completely overwhelmed us. And I'm no different. It's to the point where I've been doing it for so long, though, that it became a passion. It's something I love to do anyway.
Yeah.
Now, if 9 times out of 10 a black person want to be an entrepreneur, they looking into that type of field, entertainment field.
I'm a musician too. I like music too.
Yeah, I was writing a song because I got a nice song that I'm working on too. But
you know what? Sorry. I just want to cut you off for a second. I see what you're saying, because I feel like black people, they always see the types of people that they see that makes lots of money usually are entertainers. So that's what they strive to be, because they want to have money, and they're like, okay, I'm going to be a rapper, I'm going to be a singer. But even then, they don't really strive to be on the business end or have control of their music or try and create their music, because they're just like, oh, I'm going to be a singer like Beyonce. But they don't think about, they don't know how to play an instrument. They don't know about theory. They don't know about composition and all that stuff. So that's another thing. I think that it's actually a good thing, because I think that music is very powerful. It's a very powerful tool to get people to think, to comfort them, to heal them, to sway their consciousness. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing to like music, but I just think that, like, black people, generally speaking, aren't shown different ways to make money other than that, so they don't really think about anything else. They don't think about being a scientist or being a doctor, being an inventor, or being, an architect, or anything other than just being like a rapper or a singer, And then on top of that,
a producer, a PR, a designer, it's everything that got something to do with the entertainment, actor, whatever. And boxer, basketball player, football player, baseball player. It's like that is the whole idea of success for the ordinary liberal.
Well, that's what they see, though. That's what they see. That's the image that's put in front of them.
Yeah, and that's true. The conditioning did that to us. And so you got a lot of people out here that that's what they go for. And that's what they think is the only way out, because they still think, oh shit, I got poor connection. Maybe it's
you're blurry. You gotta stay frozen. You just gotta stay. You gotta stay in that one position like this, for like another hour, and you'll be good. Because I think as soon as you got up and moved, it was blurry. Okay.
Yeah, it got better.
Okay. Okay, go on. Sorry, you're saying.
So you have a lot of I actually lost my train of thought right there for a second.
We're talking about.
Yeah, a lot of people that's into like the entertainment stuff. You know, a lot of them tend to choose. They feel like it's the only way out, is what I wanted to
Yeah,
say.
yeah, yeah.
Or like because they still believe like they've been suppressed by racism,
Hmm.
that no institutional racism, that they're being hated on everywhere, so they can't actually come up. But being that entertainment is so open for people to be like entrepreneurs and work themselves and actually become rich and famous, that like that's the only way to become rich and famous,
Or rich,
and
or important, rich and important. You know what I mean?
yeah, and also and stuff like music, and also to get like your story out there, to maybe inspire someone, in the area. But then you got a lot of these stories that's coming out that's very negative, very bad, but those are the stories that seem to be pushed into the mainstream all the time.
Oh. When you ask me, I'm Miss Conspiracy, so I would be like, there's a conspiracy to keep that going. They
Oh,
don't want people, not only just black people, but just people in general, to be conscious about stuff.
right.
So
Yeah.
one thing we talked about off air, was you're a Trump supporter. You're conservative. Do you consider yourself conservative?
Yeah. I would say I'm a conservative, independent conservative.
But you said you're also like a truth seeker and stuff, because I feel like I consider
Yeah.
myself more that than anything else, and I feel like it's kind of led me to the conservative side, especially with the insanity and of the left and what's been going on. But I don't really come across a lot of people that like are truthers, and you know. Um, so tell me about your experience with that as well.
As being a truther.
Yeah,
Uh,
a truth seeker, or yeah, what made you?
um,
Because I think this is the thing. Hold on, stop that. Let me just finish this. I think that there are people that they'll only go so far down the rabbit hole. Especially like there are a lot of people that are kind of waking up, so to speak. Especially this past election, they're waking up to how much the media lies, and they're waking up to a lot of the political lies that they've been told. But I think there a lot of people will only go so far. They won't go deeper, and they won't realize other things that they've been lied about and other conspiracy stuff. In fact, they'll avoid that. So you don't seem like you're that person that does that. So why is that?
um, because is a fine line of what people would believe. You just have to just present certain things um, with certain facts that's easier to pick apart whether it's true or not. Like for example, certain things that's happening with Donald Trump, we're not physically there, but we know how these people operate. We know what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
We know what's possible. And in doing this, we'll know what to believe or not. So we able to come up with a better judgment than these people, other than just believing what they hear, not knowing anything about politics, not knowing anything about what's going on. So my whole stance on what I learn and how I learn it, is like it comes from what can be proven, what's what's you know um what's true, what can be proven, you know, and who is presenting it. Now, I ain't talking about like far as the character, but talking about more like the reputation.
What
For
their
as
intention is, right? Is that what you're saying?
not their intentions about, it's about what they've done. If
Okay.
they constantly been like lying or something in the past, whatever the case is, then I'll listen to them with skepticism. Um, but I won't like shun them out. I'll listen to them, but I won't shun them out. As long as they speak in truth, then I'll support the truth. I'll tell people what I don't like about them, but I'll tell them right here they telling the truth, and that's to separate their character.
Yeah, a lot of
Right
people
here.
can't do that. A lot of people can't.
Mhm.
A lot of people throw the
Yeah,
baby out with the bathwater, and it's
yeah.
kind of I
And just
wish more
imagine.
people would, huh?
I was saying, just imagine if I was to get some type of huge uh, buzz and a lot of people starting to listen and view me. The things they could bring up is probably, oh, he cheated on his girlfriend before. Oh, he's not a faithful man. Oh, he voted for Obama. Oh, he liked Bill Clinton, you know,
Yeah.
like it's like so many things that they can say about me, and just paint me in a bad light, instead of just focusing on once I became an independent person, that how I started to guide myself towards the independent era. I mean, the conservative area, and that this is what I am now. This is what I've been doing. This is what I've been preaching and teaching. It's not me just flip flopping. I'm straight conservative when it comes to the Constitution.
But I think though too that there is something to be said. It just depends on the situation, like you're saying, how people can bring stuff up about you, and bring your past up and stuff. But I think there is something to be said about the details of that and how, maybe how you handle the situation, because depending on how you handle that situation would speak to your character, and then how your character analysis or your character could also speak how you can handle things in the future. So for instance, you can say that Hillary Clinton's mentor was he was a recruiter for the Ku Klux Klan, right? And then her response can be like, oh well, that was a long time ago, I'm not that person now. But then you can be like, well, your mentor was a Cyclops. He did recruit people. He was a high level person, and then you are involved in things that are, you're not actively going out trying to physically hurt black people, but you are involved in situations that could keep the black race down. Like the Clintons being involved in the crime bill that made it harder. So that speaks to knowing that about that. I went on a tangent. That made it easier to incarcerate blacks. Oh, but then you look at stuff like they have an investment in the prison system, so they benefit from that. Oh well, now you take that link in her past about her mentor being a high-ranking Ku Klux Klan member. Maybe she doesn't like black people, maybe, what I mean? So maybe she doesn't. You can say, oh, that was a long time ago and that was my past, and I didn't know that, or she didn't have any connection she didn't know that connection to them. But to me, that connection, along with the other stuff that she's involved in, shows her character that she is a racist, that she doesn't, her actions show that she doesn't like black people,
Yeah. You actually make a good point. That's a good point.
So
what I would say about that is, now at that type of situation, you have to look at the how important is her job, her character, and what she has done versus the things that she's saying. Now if Hillary Clinton, in case she had like this KKK mentor guy, whatever the case is, and she's saying, oh, that's the past, and then now she want to move on, and then you see her come out with this plan, not come out with it, but try to continue this Planned Parenthood, and then you look at the past, and then they got something to do with somebody else that was in the KKK, what's Margaret Singer, and then she like, no, not one about them, and then you see her doing deals with, what's that guy named, David Duke.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see Klans members praising her, and she like, and Bill Clinton come out and say, oh, what's his name, Robert C. Byrd.
Yeah, Byrd.
They call him a KKK member. That's the past. We just call him a country boy. I'm like,
yeah.
Did he really brush it off like that?
Yeah.
And then the past has it progressed, and she constantly being accused of the same things, and she's doing things constantly, more, and they're not just talking about the old past, they're talking about the newest issues that's going on and what she's doing and what she's been doing. That says a lot about that she's not to be trusted.
Yeah, for sure. But I also too, when speaking about people's past, I also think that like, there's a difference between people that did something in their past and they have remorse for what they've done, as opposed to people that have done stuff in their past and they don't have remorse, or they're not apologetic for what they've done, yet they want you to forgive them. So I mean, I'm not about that either, you know. And for me, I'm suspicious of people, even though maybe they have yet to prove that they're doing something at the moment. If they're taking that approach where they're unapologetic, they don't have remorse, and they still lied about stuff they've done in their past, I feel like I have that right to be suspicious of them and not trust them as well, you know.
Right.
Because it's just I think we're at the point too in this country where we're sick of being lied to, you know, no matter by whom. You know, people just want the truth. People just want, you know, we want peace. We want, you know, we don't want manipulators. We don't want opportunists. We don't want people to give us the runaround. Most decent people just want, you know, if we are going to have people that lead us, we want them to have our best interests in mind and not be selfish and not be out for themselves. You know, I think that's the bottom line. But I want to ask you something. I'm sorry. Do you want to elaborate? Okay.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, and even if Hillary Clinton was to say something that I agree with, and I believe is more something that I agree with, you know, that I would post that and say I agree with her here, but on everything else where she has done, things that she has said, I don't agree with. But right here is true. That's true.
Okay.
You know, I did the same thing with her, Bernie. You know, I'll post it up and I'll give them props when they say something right.
Okay.
You know, when Bernie was talking about the corruption in the government, I said, I agree. I posted it up. But I said, socialism ain't the answer, though. You know?
Yeah.
I don't separate them. I'll take it and I'll separate. You know, and every time they come out and say something bad and their whole message was horrible, I'll post it up and I say, I don't agree with nothing this guy just said. Nothing.
But like with Bernie though, he'll talk about. But see, a lot of people, they'll say stuff and they'll still kind of like they're not like consistent with their thoughts. So they'll say stuff like he'll talk about corruption and corporations and the government, but you know he'll support fake news or he'll support the pharmaceutical industry. So for me, like I won't like I can understand what he's saying. And be like, I know what he's saying, this part is true, but I'll also be like, this part is not true. So he's contradicting himself. And if he's doing that openly, either A, he doesn't have sense, or B, he knows exactly what he's doing. He's doing doublespeak. So for me, I could post. I personally wouldn't post, even if I agree with him, if I know he's saying something that's the opposite, because I'm just like, okay, well, I'm not going to support him because he's being contradictory. He's not being consistent.
But that's the whole point of like, well, I guess that's where we defer a little bit, because I feel like that's the point where, you know, you're showing the deception by, you know, you post up and saying, well, he said that's right, but you also mentioning the things that you disagree with.
Okay.
About the person.
That's what you're saying.
You know,
yeah, you got to contrast. You got to compare them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll post it up and say, this right here is the right way to go. You know, and I'll say something like, these guys always get up here and they pretend they for the people and they say the right things like this right here, but then what they do is completely opposite, you know, and then I'll pick it apart when it comes to them and stuff like that. I'll pick it apart, you know, and the same thing with like, for example, same thing with, Tree of Logic, you know. Mm-hmm. She said a lot of good conservative stuff, you know, mm-hmm. and I was posting up her videos and all of that stuff, but then she says things I don't agree with, you know. I'll post up if it's all in the same video, I'll post it up and I'll say what I agree with, and I'll say, but this part right here, I don't agree with that, you know. But that's my whole thing. I try not to hate nobody for what's going on, but at the same time understand who they work for.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? Okay. You know. And then I try to use that to let people know that, okay, they try to play double standard here. They try to play double politics here.
Yeah.
You know, and I put that out there, boom. You know, so people could know that, okay, so they do speak the truth sometimes, but they twist it, you know, and sometimes they just blankly just in a rabbit hole somewhere.
And you know what, too? I mean, just what I've discovered on this journey is that we all have, like, blind spots, too. So we're all going to mess up. And say stuff as well. We all have our personal interests. I mean, not necessarily selfishly, or not saying that we're all opportunists, so to speak, but I think that there's some people that like I have a bias against the medical industry, so that's kind of like gonna be like my thing a little bit more, you know what I mean? Then maybe I won't put as much energy into other subjects because that's kind of like my special thing. I don't know, does that make sense? And then maybe I'll block out other stuff. I won't, because it's not as important to me. So I think people also do, to a certain degree, they do have their personal interests, depending on their experiences, their life experiences, and their perspective as well. Certain things that they're going to talk about more or less. But I wanted everyone to ask you this, because you told me this. I thought this was really interesting off air, that half your family is Christian, half your family is Muslim. And I want to know, because if they're different sects of Muslims, and people, talk about Muslims being very violent and aggressive, and I have seen that more so from like some of the, I guess the Arabic Muslims that have been coming in from. I know I'm not saying all Arabic Muslims are like this, but I think that largely has in part to do with the wars that have been created in their country and maybe them wanting to take revenge. I asked you a bunch of questions. So let me just ask you your take, I guess, on Muslims and Christianity. And then I'll re-ask you the other questions, because I have a lot to add. I want to know about that.
From my experiences and what I've learned, that there are different types of Muslims. All of them is not radical Muslims. Some of them are really good faithful Muslims, and but they do follow like Elijah Muhammad, and they are peaceful, and they want peace amongst all people. Just respect them and their religion. For I ain't saying like you could say something about Muslims in front of them and they'll just ignore you. Instead of feeling like they got to retaliate against you, they'll just ignore you. Mainly those Muslims be like the Louis Farrakhan type Muslims. They won't really retaliate on you unless you like really retaliated on them. They won't really retaliate at all.
So you were telling me they're like Christian? They're Christian Muslims?
They believe in a lot of aspects in the Christian Bible. As far as Jesus Christ. They believe he is a prophet. They just don't believe he's like the Son of God, and they respect him as a prophet, but they look at Christians like, y'all guys, y'all praising him like if he's God, but he's a good prophet, and then Elijah Muhammad, their previous prophet, that's like their Jesus, so they believe Muhammad is a God. They don't say he's a God. They say he was the best prophet.
So they wouldn't even say like Muhammad is the son of God. They just recognize him as a prophet.
A powerful prophet, a good prophet, yes. They're like one of the best prophets, yes.
So he was better. So maybe they'll say that he was a prophet and Jesus was a prophet, but Muhammad is like he's like, I don't know, like a higher ranking prophet over Jesus, something like that. Is that it?
He's like a prophet of their of like Muslims, because it is a difference. There is a difference, but he was like the Jesus for like the modern day Muslims, like the New Testaments and Quran, But then you have Jesus, who's like the New Testaments to the Christians. They say he's not the Son of God. He's he's a good prophet. That was. It's like they don't shun Christianity as far as like, oh, y'all shouldn't exist. They kind of look at them like, okay, you have a good prophet. Your prophet is good, but he's not God.
Okay.
That's pretty much it. But as far as people like Louis Farrakhan always give Jesus Christ, his props, and he just don't believe like he's a son of God. He's a powerful prophet, just like Elijah Muhammad.
What are your take? What is your take on the radical Muslims? Do you have one that are coming in and stirring up stuff?
You have, if you notice, all of mainly the radical Islamic and terrorists are people that was pretty much bred and groomed and conditioned for war, strictly from the third world country, strictly from Iraq, Afghanistan, those countries. And it's been going on for years. Like they really took the radical information that was in the Quran, and they used that as their head and spear. Like they really try to mix, politics and religion. Their religion is their politics. And they feel like, whatever God would do, that's what God would ask of them to do to you. So they kind of live in that first century caveman, open execution, women enslaved, type mentality.
It's crazy.
But you have the Nation of Islam. We don't, well, I ain't gonna say we, but as far as black people, Nation of Islam, Louis Farrakhan, stuff like that, they don't treat women like that at all.
Yeah.
But they're Muslims. They don't treat women like that at all. Women are empowered, in the Nation of Islam.
I went to the CDC 2 years ago, and I protested. And some people from the Nation of Islam came out to protest with this, because that was when they found out about Dr. William Thompson from the CDC and the whistleblower, and the study that they were doing. I think it was like the DiStefano study, and how the whole movie situation with Vaxxed, if you know about that, and how in that study that they found that there was specifically an increase of autism in black men because of vaccines. So they got a hold of that information, ironically, through this old white lady named Lucy. I can't think of her last name. Sweetest lady. Anyway, some people came, Tony Muhammad came, and some other people from the Nation of Islam came, and they marched with us. And then there was some other events going on, and they came, and women were really smart. They did cover their hair and everything, but a lot of the women I met were in the medical industry. They were doctors. They were, they didn't really seem like oppressed or enslaved or uneducated. So I thought that was really interesting, because I never, I just don't know a lot about Islam. And, I was thinking, okay, well, there has to be different sects. And I had a teacher in college. He was one of my favorite teachers. He was from Iran, and he was amazing. He wasn't, he didn't have that vibe, but, you get people that, I think I know a guy that was in the military, and he had a tour in the Middle East, and he's just like, no, there's no such thing as a peaceful Muslim, and they're all radical. And I was just like, well, I don't think that's true. I think, I don't want to classify any group of people as one way. But I would like to know more.
Radical idea that, Muslims is bad, all Muslims is bad, and stuff like that. I mean, they have these certain things about them that everybody may not agree with it, but they are a lot. Most of them are moderate Muslims. They really are good people. I got a friend, like I told you before, in the military. He's Turkish, but he's Muslim. And me and him, we agree on everything. We both voted for Trump.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And he's for Trump. He didn't like a lot of things Obama was doing. And he always come to me and be like, "You're a very smart man. You."
Yeah.
Your name is fucking Rod. He's a very powerful name. Very powerful. Yeah, you know what it means. I'm like, yeah, I know what it means. I'm like, I know what it means. But the whole idea is that every single brand is being smeared out here. It's not just Christians. It's Christians, it's Islam. It's, 90% of the Muslims are being smeared, and the ones that seem to be empowered, are the ones that's is full of hatred. The ones that want to enslave, and the good ones is just like being pushed out the window. It's kind of like what was happening with black society today, where they just fund all that money into negative hip hop, radicalize the people, and then
Yeah.
now people could just point at us and say, you're hip hop, you're negative hip hop,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And so they're doing the same tactics even with the Muslims. They funding all of this money into the negative Muslim, giving them so much power to take control of their own areas.
Well, it's because they're using. It seems like they're using radical Muslims as muscle to take control of the country.
Right.
Because these like sissy ass Antifa people, they can't fight for shit. You know what I mean? They're gonna have to have seriously. Like, I'm not scared of them. Like.
Man.
Like,
there are some times I really wanted to go out there. I really wanted to just go out there, man, in my uniform and let them know exactly what I'm doing right there. That's awesome. I can't do it because it'll bring me so much, from the system. Of course, I know I'll have support and backing by, a lot of conservatives and stuff, like, let them speak, but at the same time, the system would be attacking me and coming at me, and I don't want to put them through that work, and I know what's right and wrong. So
yeah.
I'm like, if I go out there, I'm not going to put that uniform on. I'm just going to go out there and just speak, and and I'll just tell people my experiences, But I was definitely inspired to go out there. I live in the middle of a liberal city, so
Great.
kind of like alone.
Yeah, I know. A lot of people kind of.
Very few people, and they don't want to talk about it in person. They're gonna talk about it online in my inbox. They don't want to talk about it in person. I'm like, man, I see you every day.
Yeah, it's
like, we'll talk about it online.
Yeah, it's weird. It's become like this cult, man. Like, seriously, if I wear any paraphernalia that goes against the liberal narrative, I have to decide like how many people I want to get in a fight with that day. You know what I mean? I'm like, am I? Because I'm not gonna let people walk over me, but I'm like, do I want to get into an argument today? Do I want to get in a fight today because I wore this shirt, because I wore this hat, because I had this bumper sticker? I do Lyft, and I had an InfoWars bumper sticker on my car, and I'd stopped doing Lyft for a while, and I decided when I started doing Lyft that I should just take it off because I'm in Austin. So, and InfoWars is in Austin, but because Austin is so liberal, there are a lot of crazy ass people here. I'd probably get my car keyed or some shit like that, So there was a lady actually in my apartment complex who was a drummer, and we were talking about getting together and doing some music. And then one day she saw me drive around with her with the InfoWars sticker on her car. I think she was like lesbian and SCW and all that stuff, and like that whole culture. And the next time I saw her, I waved to her and I was like, "Hi," and she just like gave me like the dirtiest look. She wasn't as friendly. I'm like, all right. So I don't, it's just I think that was the reason though. She had to see my sticker went, because I remember her driving by and looking at my car, and I think that was why she wasn't as friendly anymore.
It's very wild out here. Like it's very, very, like I definitely got into a bar fight.
A bar fight?
Yeah, and it's
you got mad. You got mad. You're like so chill. By the way,
I am chill because but the thing is, the level of
I'm saying that so they must have made you mad. That's what I'm saying. They must have really pushed you. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, because I'm open on my Facebook, my Instagram. I'm not online flirting with chicks and stuff. You know what I'm saying? I'm literally like my whole Facebook like a news feed, Instagram, and of course my YouTube, all news feed. Me just talking about politics, talking about human behavior and stuff like that, and so these guys, they've been my friend for a couple of years, and they had my page and stuff for a couple of years, so they know, I'm a Trump supporter, so while Trump was running for president, I went to the bar, and I ain't out there like just talking politics or trying to protest and nothing like that. I ain't doing that. I just, I'm chill. I'm going out. It's a regular day, and this guy he gets a little bit of drink in his system. And he came to me and he was in my face pointing at me like with the gun hand, He was like,
oh, not a gun, but a gun hand. Okay, got you.
Yeah, like a gun hand. and he was in my face. And I'm like, yo, listen, if you want to debate, we could go outside, we could debate. You know what I'm saying? We could talk about it. You know what I'm saying? We could talk politics. I do this all day, every day anyway. You know? And so he's like, all right, we're gonna go outside, but if you come outside, I'm gonna F you up. I'm like, how? I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna come out there and I'm gonna talk to you. So I went outside with him. And while I'm outside, I'm like, all right, now we could talk about it. What don't you like? What do you like? You know what I'm saying? Whatever the case is. He was like, I don't like that Trump that racist mouth. You know, he started running his mouth and he started coming in my face. And his fingers hit my hat. Like, whoop. I said, okay, now you're too close, my man. Like, look, I'm like, yo, stand back and let's talk. You know what I'm saying? He was like, I don't need to stand back. I don't need to stand back. I said, listen, man, you coming to me and you putting your hands up. You know what I'm saying? I may have no choice but to defend myself. And he was like, oh, well then, oh, well then, oh, well then. And I said, you know what? And then I started going at all our friends and stuff, jumped in the middle. And they was holding us back and stuff. So it didn't really get to like the physicality of the fight, but because our friends was right there.
Yeah.
You know, but the fact that he was like this all in my face and talking
He
about
didn't want to talk. He didn't want to talk.
Yeah.
See, a lot of those people that get mad like that, they can't talk. They don't have words. That's why they feel like they have to get violent. They don't have arguments. You know?
They're using all aggression. It's just ridiculous. You know, but the way to handle a lot of these liberals out here is the ones that's like really wild and out of control like that. You know, you have to stay away from them. There is no talking to them.
Yeah.
There is no talking to them because they don't want to talk, and you already know they don't know much. So what are you gonna do? Make them look stupid while they already ready to fight?
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Right.
So it's best thing to do is leave them alone. But the only people that we can work with and talk with are the liberals that's willing to just sit down and talk about policies. You know, and the idea how to do it is not to make them look stupid. You know what I'm saying? But it's to find
But it's so easy. I'm just kidding. You're right. No, I said, but it's so easy.
On common ground.
Yeah, exactly. You're no.
I don't know if a lot of conservatives know this. I don't know a lot of conservatives know this, but when it comes to corrupt government, we are on common ground.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
So you go with them. Don't reveal who you are. Don't say, oh, you're a Trump supporter. Don't say, oh, you a Republican, because those key words, those are trigger words. It'll shut them off.
Yeah.
It'll trigger them. Yeah. So you go up to them and you just talk about the corruption in the government. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
I actually have tried that, and it kind of sort of works. But when I have done that too, and then they'll ask me questions, I'm like, oh, what's your political party? And I'll say, I don't know, I'm like libertarian. And I'm like, oh, like one guy, I think I interviewed him on my channel. I went out to a protest, and I was just trying to, ask why he was out there protesting today. And he was talking, and he was, and then he was like, what's your party? And I was like, libertarian. He's like, yeah, don't talk to me. I was like, why? Oh my God,
Trigger word, yeah.
Yeah, but I just like, I even say Republican. I'm not a Republican. I was just like, I was like, you can't talk to me. You're not going to even like talk to me. Don't you want to let people know why you're out here? Don't you?
That, when it comes to people like that, those are the people that's like more of on a doctrine area on the left side. Because they know what a libertarian is. Everybody out here, I talk to them, I was like, yeah, you know what a libertarian is? No, they don't. Most of them don't know what a libertarian is. Most of them don't even know they left. Most of them don't even know they're liberals.
Yeah.
They know they're Democrats, but a lot of them don't know that they're considered to have liberal ideology. They don't know that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So they can't, you see me and you, we could look at people and hear two things they say, and we know what party they lean on, what they may believe in, what they may not believe in. We can see that now, right?
Yeah.
They can't. They still can't see that.
Oh, well, people come up to me all the time and talk to me because I'm black, and they just think that they'll just come up to me and be like, "Don't you hate that orange orangutan, Trump? Trump." This lady was talking. I was lifting her. We were talking. I forgot what we were talking about. It's solely different, and then she just brings up Trump and she just starts talking shit about Trump and Trump supporters. And for me, what really triggers me is not even if people don't like Trump, that's fine. But when they start talking about people that support him, huh?
It was just them just assuming you support them because you.
Yeah, but and they have like a frohawk and stuff. So I guess they're like, oh, she's being edgy, as whatever. You know, oh, so it's just, I get it all the time. It's so frustrating, but it's funny
Yeah, but
too. It's,
that's how they choose their politics. They
yeah,
choose
and
their
I'm just
politics.
like,
Uh,
I'm not even trying to talk politics today. You know what I mean? Like once a month, like just for my back, I would treat myself to like a massage, and had this nice guy who was he was a massage therapist. I would go to him all the time, and he would always be talking about how much he hated Trump all the time, like not even asking me, right? Just assuming. And I never said anything. I never judged him for it. And then one day he found out my policies, and we had been friends for like almost a year. And he found out like my political leanings, and he just like distanced himself. And I was just like, "Are you serious? Like, you're not gonna even talk to me? You're not gonna even like, I didn't judge you. I didn't make you feel bad, but yet you're just gonna." I'm like, "Okay, you know."
so that's what I'm saying. When you approach them, you have to dominate the conversation. First of all, you're talking politics. A lot of them is very insecure when it comes to politics. So you have to talk with confidence, and dominate the conversation. Don't if you trying to ask them a question and then they ask you what political party, you in, don't even respond. Go ahead with your question. Just be like, oh, wait. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Just dominate the question, and you ask them a question with more questions. Then when they get down, once you get your questions through that you need to get through, you get down to it, and then they ask you again, what political party you lean on. Well, me, I'm a conservative independent, but I just say independent. You see, because soon as you say Republican or Democrat, they're gonna make it bipartisan type thing.
Yeah.
They're gonna be like, oh, you're gonna hate my views because you're a Republican. That's your job.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you have to meet them on common grounds. You don't got to reveal that, oh, I'm a Republican and I'm proud, or I'm a independent and I'm proud, or I'm a conservative and I hate black people. Like you don't have to.
Yeah. No, I don't, but I still feel like just because I just don't agree. Like, for instance, there was a guy that we were talking about illegal immigration, and I was just like, there's a difference between legal and illegal immigration. And they kind of had this whole like all open borders for everybody. And I was like, look, lady, like, oh no, it was a lady. I was like, look, lady, you're not having to live in the neighborhood with all the legal immigrants that are coming over here. You're not having to compete with them for jobs. You're not being affected by them. And it was like, the key word is illegal, not legal. There's a difference. And it was like, what message are you sending to the people that are legal, that have worked their butt off to get their citizenship, and yet you're going to let other people just illegally come in? I'm like, that's not good. And she got mad, and she's like, well, you know what? That's just your experience. Sometimes I just want to like straight up curse these people out. They're so selfish and so like, they're so just tunnel vision. And huh?
In other words, like, I mean, people can be raised and conditioned to do anything, to like anything, gorillas and monkeys and chimpanzees is capable of raising a human being. Not do it mean they'll do a good job? No, they won't. But guess what? The kid will live under it. That kid grow up under a chimpanzee, a monkey, a gorilla or something, he's gonna act just like Tarzan. Guarantee it. That kid never seen human.
Is that really possible? I mean, I'm not trying to be a smart ass. Is that really, like, people have done that? They've, like, you can experiment with apes, and, like, they just throw a baby in with some apes, and they'll, raise it?
They are capable of raising. It don't mean that you as a baby, you can't run into one of those crazy apes and they just slam you into a tree or something. But the ordinary ape is a good ape. There are bad ones, and then there's overprotective ones, and then there's good ones. But if, let's say, you was raised by good ones, you was found like Tarzan by a good ape, they can actually raise you and treat you like a baby and raise you. They will feed you and raise you, and you will be Tarzan.
But I wouldn't speak English. I'd speak like ape, huh?
Yeah. The thing is, you'll be able to understand it.
Would I look like Valerie Jarrett? Would I grow up looking like this?
That's messed up what they did to Roseanne Barr. That was really messed up.
Yeah. You
And
know
then,
what? It was actually I don't get offended. I thought that was funny. She does look like old school Planet of the Apes. I think so. With
so
the
that picture,
Botox.
I was like, that's so wrong. Why would she call her that? Then I seen the picture. I was like, oh.
Yeah. Well, you know what it is? My theory is just like the Botox and the plastic surgery, right? It looks like this is what she's had done. And then the old Planet of the Apes, they made those the makeup. They did that with like latex and stuff. So she looks like plastic like a plastic ape because of her plastic surgery. Yeah, that was messed up because I was just like, it was a joke. It was a joke. It wasn't,
It wasn't meant to. It was like a joke. It
She's
wasn't
a
meant for
comedian, and people have said worse. I've been called worse stuff by other black people, for my views, and the same black people that are offended, huh?
They said she's black. They said that lady was part black too. What's her name? The one that was called the Ape or something.
Valerie Jarrett.
Yeah, they said she was like part black or something.
She said when the Muslim Brotherhood and Planet of the Apes made a baby.
Yeah, right.
I can laugh at myself. I just don't get offended. I don't see how people are getting so butthurt over this one lady. They don't even know. They don't even.
All I got to say is, I left all of that offensive racism stuff alone. You know what I'm saying? Once I realized that black people do it more than probably any other race I ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
On seeing that, I'm like, let it all out. What you got to say?
Plus, it's a trigger word. It's like a dog whistle. It's a lot of that stuff is meant to make us go crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody calls you like a nigger or something like that, and then you lose your mind and beat the crap out of them. Then now you're in jail, and the person that called you that is A-okay. But you're gonna let that person make you beat them up and ruin your life because you can't hold your temper, or you can't come back. You don't have the words to come back with something savvy enough to defend yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was in Fort Hamilton with my brother and my other friend that's in the military with me, and we went to go to the shopping area, and we went to the shopping area, and we right there by the register, we buying our things, and this guy comes out of nowhere, he's talking about how he's a veteran and all this stuff, and then he started saying stuff like racist white guy. I mean, me personally, I think he was like a plant to just piss people off, like a liberal plant just to piss people off, And he started saying racist things, like he was like, he said, "I love y'all young black men serving in the military, standing on the corner selling pharmaceuticals."
What?
We looked at him like, "What?" And he was like, "No, I'm just saying, you ain't got to eat chicken watermelon every day now." What?
Who talks like that? Who talks like that? Like what? I mean, I I believe you. I'm just saying, like, huh?
We walked off, and then he actually came out following behind him. I don't think he noticed. We trying to avoid him. Like getting upset and wanting to hurt this guy, and then like you turn around, it was like police cars all in the back, So I told my brother, I said, "Don't worry about it. Let's get in the car. Let's go. Let's get in the car. Let's go." What I was seeing is why he just like gonna keep antagonizing us and like harassing us, saying racist stuff.
Yeah, he wanted you guys to lose your temper.
Yeah, that's what it looked, and just to make us look worse. And we would have jumped, 3 black guys jumped that one guy at the mall in front of the police. The police don't want to hear the story. They like, "Yo, it's 3 of y'all. What y'all doing?"
It would have felt really good, though. For the moment, though, I said for the moment, I bet you would have felt really good, though.
Oh, it would have felt so good to knock out the rest of his teeth because he was like his all fronts. But get the rest of them, help him out, But I know for a fact there are people out here that's conditioned to do that. You see, racism is a business. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there's people that actually profit off of
they like culture profit off of this.
Wait, hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. Let me wait for it to clear up. Or could you? Did you move? It's saying poor network connection. I just want to hear what you were saying because I know you're getting deep about. Okay.
No, my connection said pretty good.
Mine says poor network connection, but I'm clear, but you're blurry. Okay. I think I can hear you fine though. Just say the last thing you were saying is racism is a business.
Yeah, racism is a business, and when you got people profiting off of this stuff, at that point, I stopped taking it serious. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, it's an organized, social engineering organized program. You know, so now I'm like, with this ideology, you know that most people not racist. Most people are just trying to figure out a way to get the people to unify, trying to find a way to unify. But racism is stuck in the middle, and it's constantly keeping everybody divided. One side is logic, one side is anger. You know, and as long as somebody profiting off of it, ain't no way I could get as upset as I used to get over it. Because now I know that's a part of a program.
Yeah, and say for instance you went and you knocked the rest of that dude's teeth out, then you're in jail. Would you be like dishonorably discharged probably from the military, right? I'm thinking.
I'll probably get in trouble, get written up.
Okay, but you're in jail. So you're in jail. You're in trouble with your career. Whatever. It's messing your life up, and that dude's okay. Could have even sued you.
He's retired. Retired.
Could have sued you. You would have to pay money out that you didn't have to pay. All these other things that I wish more Black people would think about before they lose their mind over somebody calling them a word, or saying some racial stuff. I'll admit that it would probably feel good, but what is that?
Yeah, I've been stabbed by a woman before. Still didn't beat her up, nothing. Just pushed her out the way, left the house.
Damn. Why? What happened? Now you got to tell me. I want to know what happened.
Well, she think that I was like having an affair with one of her friends, which was not true at all. And she heard that from her other friend.
Damn, you don't stab anybody over that? Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
You don't stab, that's crazy. But did you know, okay, because I want to ask you this, did you know that she was like that crazy? Did you know, were there signs there? Or were you like, she's hot, I don't care?
That's exactly what it was. It was like she was so okay that it was like, she was so fine that it was like, and she ain't gonna be mad at me, But the thing is, she was. And it's off of fake news, pretty much, from something she heard from somebody. The person that... my phone acting crazy.
I told you.
Person that... because I'm like 50% left, and I got it on a charger, and it's the security screen keep coming up.
Okay.
But but pretty much what it was is, I know a girl that I'm really good friends with, and the truth is that I really did like her. But we never got together or nothing like that. Her friend, this thing keep happening. Her friend, liked me, so I ended up starting to mess around with her friend. And this girl, she was still my friend. I'll still hang out with her and stuff like that. We still regular. Inbox, whatever. And she was just getting some extra news on the other side by another friend. That I'm messing around with her, but I wasn't.
What did she stab you with?
Huh?
What did she stab you with?
It was like one of those small kitchen knives.
Damn.
Always that one knife. Because I, when she first swung it at me, I caught her wrist. And she was like this.
Did she have a temper before though?
It poked me like right there. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah, I can see it. I can see it.
I had her wrist, and she was like this with her hand, and it poked me right there. You know, yeah, it's bananas.
But I'm saying before, did she have a temper before? Did you see any flags, any red signs?
She always had that like that ratchet attitude, where she, she ain't to be messed around with. She'll turn up. A lot of females scared of her, but that never really attracted me, But she's pretty. That's probably the only thing that really attracted me. And she just heard the news and she just flipped on me. It wasn't even, and it wasn't even like we was like years in a relationship or something.
But still, yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter even if you were, you know what I mean? She's like, who's this bitch? I'm sorry. I know I should be joking. That was some serious shit.
No, it's fine. I laugh about it today.
Well, you're older now, so hopefully you know better now. You can spot red flags from girls that are crazy like that.
Oh yeah. Once I studied human behavior, psychological warfare, the power of negative and positive energy. The power of the subconscious mind, hypnosis. I looked into all of that. I was studying that stuff for years, and now it's to the point where it just made me so calm, collective, mellow, and I just accept information, and then I think about it, then I respond.
Yeah, when you know a lot of that stuff, it really helps. Like, you don't take stuff so personally, I think.
Right.
And you can figure people. You can kind of figure people out just by a few signs of how they act. So then you won't really get, maybe you might have surprises in there, but you won't really get messed up or mixed up with people because you already see those signs. And then B, if you do, like you can, you just don't take it personally because you know like why they're doing the stuff they're doing. I wish that people.
It's like you see a child, and you see a child playing, and you tell a child, don't jump on the bed. It's fun for a child to jump on the bed.
Yeah.
But you tell them, don't jump on the bed because you can fall and hurt yourself. But they're a child, so they're going to do it. So you're not going to be super mad, because the child jumping on the bed anyway. You're just going to laugh about it. Or, you're just going to grab them and take them off or take the baby off the bed and be like, stop. I said stop. But it's trying to go back, keep going, laughing, So, it's just an understanding. You tell them not to do something wrong, but they keep doing it like, all right, And that's kind of like my attitude towards society, towards people that are just constantly doing just ignorant stuff. I was just like, come on, man.
You're like, get off the bed, get off.
Insult me and okay. Well, my mother's a bitch, really. You feel better about talking about my mother, right?
Like, even though you've never met her, you don't know her, you're like, all right,
Yeah, I'm like, I think about all that. You don't know her, never met her, never seen her, but you somehow know my mom's a bitch. Like, where you get that from? Like, like I can't take it serious. But people out here that still take that serious, even though it's just somebody just throwing just negative energy at you, and you just take it and throw back negative energy.
Yeah.
So I learned how to combat that. So now I'm ready for the fields. I'm trying to get out there on my free time and protest, get in front of these cameras and be like, shut up.
I was at a protest, and there was this dude, and he was white, and this Antifa said something about his mom, and oh my God, he was like, don't you talk about my mama, and he's turned all red, and they were like holding him. And he was about to kill that dude. I mean, I wanted him to because he was an Antifa like douchebag. So, but like it was just funny, and I'm just like, wow, people really get mad. I always say, like, jokingly say your mama to people, just and my mom's like, don't say that. Like, I think that day I found out, I'm like, oh, some people really flip out when you say that about Because I'm like, because there's like the hypothetical mom, and then there's like the real mom. I don't, you know what I mean? It's not, I don't know. People take that stuff like so personally. It's hilarious. Anyway, we're talking about women in the military. I'm gonna start wrapping it up anyway, though. So.
Yeah, we're talking about women in the military, how they basically they kind of water the training down because of the women. Back then when I was training in Fort Knox, Kentucky, and it was all male infantry training. So You know, it was hardcore. It was like whatever's being said. Like, you know, they were like, you know, I F your mother, or, you know, your mother this, your father that, you know, or you worthless this, you worthless that, you know. They can't do that to women because inherently they say women are emotionally sensitive in a lot of areas. So don't do that because it could break them. It could really break them, you know, and stuff like that. So, you know, I believe, like I said, that's why I believe I got most of my my tolerance for this from.
The military.
You know, far as just hearing, just be able to listen to what somebody say, listen and pay attention to detail. You know, listen to what somebody got to say and then just analyze it, the whole situation. You know, I think that's why I kind of got that idea from, you know, from the military, forcing me to just have patience and sit there and while these guys all in your face like, you know.
You're still a little scrambled. You can't see me. My camera's on.
Yeah, I can see you now.
Okay, here we go. So what's the last thing you want to say? So we're gonna wrap it up. Is there anything else you want to tell the audience?
To be patient. Don't go hard on conservative people that has the same end-game goals. Focus on the end-game goal. Filter out the BS. You know what I'm saying? Support good message, a good message. You know, pretty much no matter where it's coming from, because the truth is the truth. Can't say the truth is not the truth because you don't like the person that gave the truth. Mm-hmm. You know, you have to be focused on the truth, support the truth, unapologetic, and you'll be able to. And then the message will just laser beam straight to the moon, destroy that Death Star. So you know. That would be my message, you know. Yeah, so good.
All right, where can they find you? Tell them your pages and all your social media handles.
Okay, you can find me on Facebook, facebook.com/MuminRad. That's MUMINRAD. You'll find my page, or if you just type. So I should be like the first person that comes up. Third Eye Philosophy on
Third Eye Philosophy.
Third Eye Philosophy on YouTube. Third Eye Philosophy on Instagram.
I'm sorry, and you said Third Eye Philosophy on Instagram because you cut out. Is that it?
Yeah. Third.eye.philosophy.
Awesome. Thank you so much for reaching out. All right, guys. I'm cutting off here. We're going. Peace, truth, love. Bye bye.